Okay, let's try this one more time. I got through about 10 minutes of this when I realized my OBS wasn't recording anymore because my hard drive is tiny. So we got Audit the Audit. I decided to record this because this takes place in Chattanooga, about 50 miles from me.
Welcome to Audit the Audit, where we sort out the who and what and the right and wrong of police interactions. This episode covers taser use, reasonable suspicion, and disorderly conduct, and is brought to us by Local 3 News' channel. Be sure to check out the description below and give them the credit that they deserve. On April 13th, 2018, Officer Cody Thomas of the Chattanooga Police Department responded to a 911 call claiming that a man named Polo, who was wearing green and black, had threatened a citizen with a gun in Chattanooga, Tennessee. While investigating the call, Officer Thomas observed local resident Nate Carter checking the mailbox in front of his home while wearing a purple shirt. The interaction that followed was captured on
So green and black, and we got
Officer Thomas's body camera.
purple and black. Okay.
Polo? Now what's your name? What's going on?
I don't know. They called you. I ain't called you. I called you.
Who are we calling about?
Calling about me, buddy.
Calling about you?
Not calling about me. Open your ears, let him out.
Hey, how about you watch your mouth for your gets thrown in the back of my car?
Watch your mouth before your ass gets thrown in the back of my car. Okay, so, citizens are allowed to cuss out the police, right? They're allowed to say whatever the fuck they want to say to you. You're not special. You're not protected. Citizens are protected by the First Amendment. They're allowed to say basically whatever the fuck they want, as long as it's not fighting words or a direct threat. So already we've got First Amendment violations. Cool.
You go here talking about who am I, Polo? And I told you no.
Hey, listen.
I gotta listen to you, man.
No, get your ass over here. You're now part of this. Come here.
Get your ass over here. You're now part of this because of the disrespect. Is that why he's now part of it? So we've got First Amendment violation already, and now it looks like Fourth Amendment violation. Illegal detention. Fine job in Chattanooga. Fine job.
Come here right now. Come here.
You can't look for what?
I'll shoot your dog.
And now you're just going to shoot his dog because of you trying to illegally detain the guy. And the dog's doing exactly what they're supposed to do, protecting their owner. I wonder if it could be a Fourth Amendment violation for him shooting the dog. It's like you have the right to remain safe and secure in your property's papers and effects. I wonder if you could say that the dog is an effect or property. And the police just, oh, I'm just going to decide, I just decide to kill your fucking animals. That'd be nice. First, fourth, and fourth violation.
Shoot my dog, boy. You can't come in my yard.
Get over here now.
Yeah, get out of my yard. Now you're trespassing, police officer.
Get over here right now. Taser.
Okay, so I know that we're in Tennessee, Mr. Cody Thomas. Probably not a smart thing to shoot a black man in the back when he hasn't committed a crime and you're trying to illegally detain the guy.
Taser deployed. Start me at 20.
I really love how it was so important for you to threaten to shoot the man's dog. And now all of a sudden you're just walking past those dogs after you shot the guy in the back. Like, after shooting the guy in the back, that would probably be the one moment that you didn't want to try to breach his, the perimeter of those dogs. Because that would be the most likely time that you're going to get your ass ripped off.
After Officer Thomas attempts to detain Mr. Carter with a verbal command, Mr. Carter refuses to comply and begins to walk back towards his home, and Officer Thomas tases him in the back. The Chattanooga Police Department's use of force policy repeatedly requires officers to use only the minimum level of force that is reasonably necessary to achieve certain lawful objectives, such as conducting lawful public safety activities, protecting persons and property, overcoming physical
Cody Thomas in
resistance,
Chattanooga shot a
effecting
black dude in the
arrests,
back with a
maintaining
taser.
control of an arrested person, preserving the
reason.
peace, preventing the commission of an offense, and preventing serious physical injury or death.
Yeah.
In describing the amount of force that officers are authorized to use against citizens, the policy states that, quote, under no circumstances shall the force used be greater than necessary to achieve lawful objectives. And, now quoting again, officers must always use the minimum amount of force necessary to accomplish these objectives. The policy also explains that, quote, whenever possible, police officers shall employ a progression of force, commonly referred to as the use of force continuum. The continuum is based on the concept of increasing the police officer's level of control in response to the level of resistance of the suspect or violator. If a suspect or violator increases his level of resistance or threat to the officer is justified in increasing his level of control. When determining the amount of force that is appropriate to use in a particular situation, the policy notes that officers should consider the nature of the offense, the behavior of the subject against whom force is to be used, physical size and conditioning, the feasibility or availability of alternative actions, location, and the availability of additional officers. The policy also includes a chart that lists the type of force that's appropriate for various levels of resistance. In this situation, Mr. Carter's actions would likely be considered quote-unquote passive resistance, which the policy defines as, quote, physical actions that do not attempt to prevent officers' attempt of control, but are not in compliance with an officer's orders or actions. The chart lists the corresponding officer response for passive resistance as quote-unquote soft, empty hand control, which the policy defines as a use of force without the aid of any equipment or weapons that includes, now quoting, empty hand escort controls, pressure points, and come-alongs that have a minimal chance of inflicting injury. The use of a taser, also known as a conducted electrical weapon, or CEW, is not permitted unless the subject is engaged in quote-unquote defensive resistance, which the policy defines as, quote, physical actions which attempt to prevent officers' control, which are non-threatening in nature. Further, the policy specifically limits the use of CEWs to situations where verbal commands have failed to bring about the subject's compliance, the subject has exhibited so-called defensive resistance, and probable cause was established on the subject before they evaded or resisted the officer. Now, it should be noted that the version of the use of force policy that's publicly available was not issued until June of 2020, about 2 years after this encounter occurred. However, assuming that a similar policy was in place at the time of this interaction, it is
I'm really confused now. It sounds like AtA is talking about, like, this isn't even the guy, is it? Like, this is just some random person who was checking his mail, right? This isn't actually the guy that they were calling the cops on, right?
highly likely that Officer Thomas's decision to tase Mr. Carter was a violation of the Chattanooga PD's use of force policy, as Officer Thomas did not have probable cause to arrest Mr. Carter at the time he approached him, and Mr. Carter did not appear to engage in defensive resistance.
Hey, show me your hands! Clear the air. Start me some cars.
I hate you, YouTube. God, I hate you. And now we have an actual gun. We dropped the taser and we've got a handgun for an unarmed suspect that you just well, not even a suspect, just a regular citizen, right? Who you just tased and is now laying barely conscious on his fucking front porch for no reason. Now you have a handgun and you're about to shoot the guy, possibly to death. I'm sorry, can anybody tell me why we don't send police to law school? Like, even a little bit of law school?
Suspect just went back in the house. Get your ass out here! Show me your hands!
Get your ass out here, show me your fucking hands. What a piece of shit, dude. I want to say very violent things about the police, but I won't.
Get your ass out here now! Get your ass over here now, or I'm gonna shoot your now!
Wow. Get over here now, or I'm gonna shoot your fucking dog. Why? Why are you gonna shoot his dogs? Because he's not listening to you? You're just gonna retaliate and kill an animal? The fuck? God.
Get your ass out of here now! Put your hands up!
He's gonna shoot this dude. The escalation that I'm seeing, I fully believe this dude's about to just unload on this unarmed civilian. I feel like that's going to happen. I haven't seen this video in its entirety yet. I haven't, like, this is all new to me now. I feel like he's gonna shoot this dude.
Hit me with your hands up! Get your out of here now! Shoot me here!
Yeah, I'm sure that aggression isn't, riling the dogs up in any way. The complete escalation instead of de-escalation of this situation. I'm sure that's not riling his fucking dogs up and freaking them all the way out.
Suspect just went back in the house.
Smartest thing he could have
I'm
done.
moving my car in front of the house. I'm moving my car in front of the house. Have a unit go to the back of the house. We got 2 units up front. Suspect has gone back in and out of the house.
This is all for somebody who didn't. This isn't the guy, is it? The green and black. He's wearing purple and black. This is not the guy, right? This isn't the suspect. This is just now their suspect. That is completely meaningless. There's no reason for this. Just because this dude's ego and attitude.
Taser has been deployed.
Come
We're
here,
still working on getting him outside.
Come out.
Get your ass over here now!
Why did you move your car in front of his house then? If you're just gonna completely leave cover. What's even the point of all that?
He went back in. Hey, sweetie, come here. Come here. It's okay. Y'all come here. Hey, y'all come here. Everything's okay.
No, it's not.
You stay right there. Hey, you come over there. You go over there. Come here. Come here now. Come here now. Get away from the dog.
I'm taking my mail off. Man, what you sleeping on the ground for? This is necessary. Motherfucker! Are you serious? I took my mail. Girl, y'all got my kids here. Why y'all doing that? Did I take my mail and talk with somebody else? I'm tight. You got the handcuffs too tight.
Who cares? Get in the car.
Who cares?
Get in the car.
Who cares? Fuck your hands. They don't care if you lose blood loss to your hands and they die.
Man, for real. For real.
Get in the car. Oh, I popped my cherry. Taser.
What? You popped your cherry? What, on a completely illegal stop? On an unarmed suspect? An unarmed civilian who didn't do anything? You popped your cherry? That's like, yeah, you popped your cherry. Oh no, I'm not even gonna go that route. Not even gonna go that
He
route.
did. He got popped and then rode it for a minute. And then he slammed the door and the bars popped off. So I don't know if it actually hit him or not. Huh? Medical for him? He got barbs in his back. His info and why I'm here. This guy. Yeah.
Come on, baby.
I'll go talk to him. I need to calm down. Alright.
I'm the one to call.
You called,
Yeah,
correct?
yeah.
Was this about him, correct?
No.
No. It wasn't for him. No. It was just a guy checking his mail. No? Completely fucking innocent. It's just an old man with a limp walking out to his mailbox. Just checking his mail. What? Oh my god. I thought green and black, purple and black, maybe. No, absolutely fucking not. 100% complete, no. This is not the guy. And you guys just did all of that. I'm gonna shoot your fucking dogs. Already shot him with a taser. Watch your fucking mouth. I'll arrest you. Jesus Christ.
There's another
Yeah, First Amendment violation, Fourth Amendment violation. I hope Fourth Amendment violation for the shooting the dogs. Oh man, please tell me this guy got fired. Please, at least. Of course, he didn't get fired.
An 80-hour suspension in November of 2018.
Of course.
He ran through, he had the Glock. He was standing by that telephone pole, and he was talking about shooting up. Me and her was in there playing cards. He was talking about shooting up in her.
Because when I walked up, you said,
Look at that dude's face. That dude's face just says it all. That dude's face says, "Holy God in heaven, we are screwed." In this day and age, what is this? 2018? Maybe not. Right off the top of my head, I can't remember when George Floyd was, so maybe not. I don't remember. I was in prison still.
said, yes, that's him.
No, I said
Yes, you did, because I walked up and I said, who do you hear about?
No, he didn't. And the guy even repeated it for you. He said, not the guy.
And he said, yeah, that's why I'm here. And so when I started confronting him about going in the house, that's when all this erupted.
Because when you started going toward him to the steps, I was hollering, that's not him.
Yeah, just grab his info, thank you.
Damn it, YouTube.
I pulled up here, and he was standing out in the middle of the road, and I was like,
And next to his mailbox, I think on a sidewalk.
well, I'm guessing this guy could be it.
What was I didn't even hear what the initial call was.
Somebody said they had a gun, they were threatening to shoot this guy. I said, hey, are you Polo? And he was like, I don't know what you're talking about, leave me alone. Like, he's calling you, shoot. He's like going like this, like, shoot. And I was like, well, I'm trying to figure out why I'm here. And he's like, he called you, not me. Now go deal with him. So I'm like, what is your name? He made some comment. I said, what?
Yeah, the guy that you just did all kinds of nonstop horrendous things to, he told you to go talk to the guy, the complainant, the guy who made the call. And then if you had just done that, then the complainant would have told you, yeah, that's not the guy, it's some other dude. And none of this would have happened. But because of your fucking ego, here we are, with a guy already shot with a taser.
And he said, how about you open up your ears and shut your mouth? And then so I asked him for his ID, and he was like, man.
If you had opened up your ears and shut your mouth, none of this would have happened.
What you talking about, leave me alone? Well, in my mind, that's the guy who has the gun. I said, how would you come over here
Why?
to give me your ID? And he's like, no, I'm going back in my mouth. Or going back in my house. And he kind of stepped towards me and started walking back in the house. So I'm thinking he's going to go get, either do something with the gun. So I tased him.
Why? Because, I mean, like, yeah, that makes sense if you're a cop. But to the entire rest of the world, like, I'm not the guy. And I don't have to talk to you. Like, you don't have to talk to the police. Never told him that he was detained, and never told him that he was arrested, never told him anything. Hey, I'm just going to leave now. After being super disrespectful, shut your fucking mouth or you'll get thrown in the back. Watch your fucking mouth or you'll get thrown in the back of my cop car. Like, well, if he's the suspect, he should already be thrown in the back of the cop car, you know? But whatever.
Right in the back. He rode it for a solid 3 seconds. And then tripped up the stairs. And then he came back in the house. And so I pulled my car to where I can get behind it. So I didn't know if he was going to come back out and try to shoot. And then he came back out.
Yeah, you made it sound like you were afraid of that, but then you just left cover and ran out right in front of him. So if you did think that he was going to go get a gun, that's a very stupid thing to do. Completely leave cover and reveal yourself. Just saying. I'm not a cop though. I haven't been trained.
Out, but he was like still hiding behind the door. So I was like, he has a gun in his hand and something bad's about to go down. That's when he kept going in and out. Y'all walked up and his girls walked out.
One's a boy.
Oh, was it?
Officer Thomas summarizes his encounter with Mr. Carter, claiming that he saw Mr. Carter standing in the middle of the road and thought, and I'm quoting, "I'm guessing this guy could be it." In the landmark 1968 decision of Terry versus Ohio, where the Supreme Court first established that officers may briefly detain individuals based on so-called reasonable suspicion of criminal activity, the court explained that in evaluating the reasonableness of a particular seizure in light of the particular circumstances, quote, "It is imperative that the facts be judged against against an objective standard. Would the facts available to the officer at the moment of the seizure warrant a man of reasonable caution in the belief that the action taken was appropriate? Anything less would invite intrusions upon constitutionally guaranteed rights based on nothing more substantial than inarticulate hunches, a result this court has consistently refused to sanction. The court also noted that, now quoting again, simple good faith on the part of the arresting officer is not enough. If subjective good faith alone were the test, the protections of the Fourth Amendment would evaporate, and the people would be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects only in the discretion of the police. The Supreme Court further articulated the definition of reasonable suspicion in the 1981 case of U.S. versus Cortez, stating that, quote, "The essence of all that has been written is that the totality of the circumstances, the whole picture, must be taken into account. Based upon that whole picture, the detaining officers must have a particularized and objective basis for suspecting the particular person stopped of criminal activity." The court then
It's so fucking ridiculous, because if you think, like, if you see this and if you think that any of this is okay, just imagine that at any point in time, your neighbor could call the cops for some reason. There's a guy that did this, there's a guy that did that, and then you are never able to leave your house. Or, well, for that, for an extended amount of time. It's just in your best interest, even though you don't know this, to just never leave your house, because the cops are there and everybody's a fucking suspect, evidently. Oh, this guy's checking his mail. Let's be a dick to him.
identified two elements that must be present for a stop to be permissible under the Fourth Amendment: that the assessment was based upon all of the circumstances, and that the circumstances must, now quoting, raise a suspicion that the particular individual being stopped is engaged in wrongdoing. Although the Sixth Circuit Court of Appeals held in the 2015 case of U.S. versus that, quote, a suspect's presence near the location of a reported crime can be a salient factor giving rise to reasonable suspicion, in this situation, Mr. Carter did not match the description of the suspect, who was reported as wearing a green shirt, and the victim claimed that he told Officer Thomas that Mr. Carter was not the perpetrator. As such, even if Officer Thomas had a good faith belief that Mr. Carter was the suspect, it is likely that a court would conclude that the circumstances did not provide him with the objective, reasonable suspicion necessary to detain Mr. Carter.
That white one, he said, the dog will bite. And I was like, oh, shoot your dog.
How do you take 20,000 children in
What is this? I can't even see the timer anymore.
the middle of New York City without anybody seeing?
This is 3 ads in 11 minutes.
For the kids? Alright, so you hang out with the kids.
Almost 12.
Because we had Adam count as a medical professional look at him here. I'm okay with that.
Okay, so the entire time, right? I don't know a count. This might be like 2 or 3 minutes in. After this guy has been arrested and handcuffed and put in the back of this cop car, and now he's talked to this civilian and gotten confirmation that he is not the guy, and now they're talking to this guy. The entire time this dude is still in the back of that cop car? Is that question mark? Like, is that what's going on? This is not the suspect, and you've just violated multiples of his rights. This guy is still in your cop car, arrested, like handcuffed.
But the hospital needs to clear him before he can do anything. Talk to Van Ness about how to write it up.
It feared for my life.
The way you described it is fine, but make sure you, exactly how you described it to me, it needs to be written down.
So what are you charging him with, so I can tell his wife?
Disorderly and resisting.
Disorderly and resisting an illegal arrest. An illegal detention, even.
And if Van Ness could help me with make up anything else. That's what I have right now, is disorderly resisting.
Officer Thomas states that he will be charging Mr. Carter with disorderly and resisting, according to Section 39-17-3.
Disorderly conduct. For what? Because I'm assuming it can't be disorderly conduct and resisting. Like, those can't be the same thing, right? Also, it was a completely illegal detention.
305 of the Tennessee Code, which defines the offense of disorderly conduct, quote, a person commits an offense who, in a public place and with intent to cause public annoyance or alarm, engages in fighting or in violent or threatening behavior, refuses to obey an official order to disperse issued to maintain public safety in dangerous proximity to a fire, hazard, or other emergency, or creates a hazardous or physically offensive condition by any act that serves no legitimate purpose. Now, while the Supreme Court of Tennessee determined in the 2011 case of State versus Mitchell that an individual's quote-unquote loud and belligerent confrontation of officers, coupled with a challenge to an officer's authority, qualified as threatening behavior designed to annoy or alarm, that was sufficient to support a disorderly conduct conviction. For this subsection of the statute to apply, an individual must be in a public place, which...
Yeah, and you were checking your mailbox on your property. Possibly on a sidewalk, but I don't know.
Section 39-11-106 of the Tennessee Code defines as, quote, a place to which the public or a group of persons has access, such as highways, transportation facilities, and schools. As such, it is likely that a court would conclude Mr. Carter was not in a public place on his own front lawn. However, the disorderly conduct statute includes another subsection which states that, quote, a person also violates this section who makes unreasonable noise that prevents others from carrying on lawful activities. Now, while this subsection of the statute does not include a public place requirement, in the 2009 case of State versus Throneberry, the Court of Criminal Appeals of Tennessee determined that the fact that an individual repeatedly yelled at a police officer was insufficient to sustain a disorderly conduct conviction because there was no evidence showing that the yelling interfered with the officer's ability to conduct an investigation or any other lawful activities. As we discussed earlier in this episode, Officer Thomas likely did not have reasonable suspicion to detain Mr. Carter, and he would have been able to continue his investigation of Polo if he chose to do so. As such, it seems improbable that a court would determine that Mr. Carter could be convicted of disorderly conduct under either subsection of the statute. As for the resisting charge, under Section 39-16-602 of the Tennessee Code, quote, it is an offense for a person to intentionally prevent or obstruct anyone known to the person to be a law enforcement officer, or anyone acting in a law enforcement officer's presence and at the officer's direction, from effecting a stop, frisk, halt, arrest, or search by using force against the law enforcement officer or another. The statute also clarifies that, now quoting again, it is no defense to prosecution under this section that the stop, frisk, halt, arrest, or search was unlawful. And Section 39-11-106 of the Tennessee Code states that, quote, force means compulsion by the use of physical power or violence and shall be broadly construed to accomplish the purposes of this title. It is highly unlikely that a court would conclude that Mr. Carter's conduct in disregarding Officer Thomas's orders and retreating into his home would constitute a use of force under this statute, as the Tennessee Court of Criminal Appeals noted in the 2013 case of State versus Martin that the force element for a resisting charge was not met when an individual ignored several commands to stop and continued to walk away from an officer. Likewise, Mr. Carter did not appear to actively resist handcuffing in body camera footage, but if he did make any movements that could be construed as struggling against handcuffing, Section 39-11-611 of the Tennessee Code permits individuals to use force in self-defense if, now quoting, the law enforcement officer uses or attempts to use greater force than necessary to make the arrest, search, stop and frisk, or halt. Accordingly, Mr. Carter would be able to attempt to defend himself against the charge by arguing that the officers were using excessive force to detain him.
I didn't figure out, do you have any of this information? Could you pull that up?
I have it.
Harbin will?
Because he did the report.
It doesn't matter what you look like, where you come from, what your history is, what your background, man. You can literally...
Hey, he didn't have his wallet on him. I have no idea who this guy is.
Maybe he'll tell you if not, he's John Joe.
Wait, what? Did he just say if not, he'll die in jail?
I have no idea who this guy is.
Maybe he'll tell you if not, he's John Joe.
If not, he can die in jail. If not, if he doesn't give you his information, the guy who didn't do anything wrong and whose rights were just violated, if he doesn't give you his information, he can just die in jail. Okay. Okay.
We're gonna take you to Erlanger.
What? No, I have a kid, buddy.
Mama's coming to take him.
Why you taking me to Erlanger?
Because you got tased.
Is this what you taking me to jail?
Yep.
For what?
Disorderly and resisting.
I didn't resist arrest. Man, I came outside to check my mail. I had nothing to do with what was going on over there. How the hell I go to jail but jump outside to check my mail? Are you serious?
I'm serious.
For real?
Has a heart attack.
You don't care about nothing but your personal agenda. Trying to save your because you had no reason to even talk to me. You were called to my address. You had no right to stop.
Is this dude white? Did I get his race wrong? I thought this was a black dude. This dude sounds white though.
Detain me. What law was I breaking? What nothing? You did not give me any statute code in my Fourth Amendment.
Bro, where are we? 17 minutes on the dot. This dude is black, right?
Get over here now!
I can't really tell because it's super fuzzy. That's a black dude, right? It doesn't matter. I'm just really confused because this dude sounds white.
Right to tell me why you were stopping me. I mean, go on, bro.
Okay, maybe not.
Take me to jail.
I will.
Make sure you come to court.
I will. He's pissed too.
Yeah, I would be too if you just violated every fucking amendment in the book.
Come on.
And then you find out that he's not the guy, and you're like, oh, well, fuck this dude anyway. He can die in jail for not doing anything wrong.
Is it safe to come out? I don't want to get assaulted again. I'm going to
Abso-fucking-lutely, for real.
get my mail. Right. Go to jail for getting your mail.
After his arrest, Mr. Carter was charged with disorderly conduct and resisting arrest. But on November 2nd, 2018, both charges were dismissed.
You're
A
damn
complaint
right.
was filed with the Chattanooga Police Department, and the internal affairs investigation found that Officer Thomas had used force outside of the department's standard guidelines, submitted official reports that contained false and misleading information, showed willful indifference to complaints of a prisoner, and displayed behavior and used language during his interaction with citizens that was unnecessary and unprofessional. As a result of these violations, Officer Thomas received an 80-hour suspension in November of 2018.
Of course he didn't get fired. Of course not. You better watch your fucking mouth or you're going to end up in the back of my cop car. I'll shoot your fucking dogs. Shoots him with a fucking taser. Finds out he's not the suspect. Oh, well, fuck him. You got his information? If not, he can die in jail. Just suspend him for a little while. I'm sure he's fine. No reason to fire the cop for constitutional violations in multitude.
And then returned to the force. On April 2nd, 2019, Mr. Carter filed a lawsuit in the Circuit Court for Hamilton County, Tennessee, which was later removed to federal court. The complaint asserted claims including excessive force, malicious prosecution, false arrest, assault, and battery, and requested $1 million in compensatory damages and $2 million in punitive damages.
I think you can only get $1 million. That might just be for like being imprisoned, but you were innocent. That might just be, I think that's what I looked up once.
On November 19th, 2019, the case was dismissed after the claims were settled for an undisclosed amount. Overall, Officer Thomas gets an F for unreasonably deploying a taser on Mr. Carter in likely violation of department policy, maintaining an aggressive and belligerent demeanor throughout the encounter, and misrepresenting essential details regarding the incident, such as claiming that Mr. Carter was in the middle of the road when he was clearly at his mailbox when the body camera footage began. Although Officer Thomas claimed to believe that Mr. Carter was the suspect reported in the 911 call, I find this contention dubious, particularly given that Mr. Carter was wearing a purple shirt rather than a green one, and both Mr. Carter and the victim informed Officer Thomas that Mr. Carter was not the perpetrator. Rather, it seems more likely that Officer Thomas reacted to perceived disrespect from Mr. Carter, as evidenced by the fact that he told Mr. Carter, and I'm quoting, "You're now part of this," after he made comments that Officer Thomas did not seem to appreciate. The truly
Exactly. This is all about ego. Dude just couldn't put his fucking ego down.
unhinged behavior exhibited by Officer Thomas during this encounter demonstrated a propensity for both violence and dishonesty, and I seriously question whether a 2-week suspension was sufficient to address these underlying.
Yeah, so for everybody out there thinking about coming to Tennessee, specifically Chattanooga, Tennessee, Hamilton County, southeast corner of the state of Tennessee, right above Georgia, understand this dude is still a cop. he's still fucking out there.
Issues. Mr. Carter gets an A- because although he was somewhat verbally combative in his comments towards Officer Thomas and ignored some of his commands, he did not appear to violate Tennessee law at any time during the encounter and took appropriate legal action by filing a lawsuit after the encounter. As we discussed in this episode, Mr. Carter likely did not commit any crimes in the course of the interaction, even when he failed to comply with Officer Thomas's commands and entered his home. However, it is important for viewers to note that disobeying officer orders in situations like this may be considered resisting or obstructing in states that do not recognize the right of citizens to resist unlawful orders and do not require the use of force to sustain a resisting conviction. That being said, Officer Thomas's use of a taser against Mr. Carter was clearly unjustified, particularly given the legality of Mr. Carter's actions in Tennessee, and I commend Mr. Carter for pursuing accountability against Officer Thomas for this violation. Let us know if there is an interaction or legal topic that you would like us to discuss in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to check out my second channel for even more police interaction content.
So yeah, you got the map, you got, what we got? South Carolina, right? No. Damn, North Carolina stretches that far? My bad. Yeah, so the side of North Carolina here and Georgia here. Okay. Right there. Avoid this section. Okay? Because this is where I'm at. All of these places, they're exactly the same. A bunch of good old boy dumb fucks that don't know what the laws are. Supreme Court? What the fuck's a Supreme Court? That's what you'll get. That's exactly what you'll get. Be very careful in Tennessee because they're a little bit behind the times.